There does seem to be an intentional war on the Palestinian healthcare system and on doctors, and not just over the course of bombings, but we have this horrendous story where last week the Palestinian Prisoners Society said that Palestinian surgeon Dr. Adnan Al-Bursh was tortured to death while in Israeli custody. He, in addition to being the head of orthopedic medicine at al-Shifa Hospital in Gaza City, was also a professor of orthopedic medicine. He was 50 years old, a husband, and the father of six. He hadn't been seen since December when he was arrested from the Al Awda hospital in northern Gaza after refusing to leave his patients. And he's one of the estimated 492 medical workers since October. So I wanted to know if any of you had heard about this doctor when you were there, because I hear that he was very well known, and also your thoughts on what happened to him and why doctors are being detained and tortured and killed.
I heard about him in the north because Al Awda is very close to Kamal Adwan. It's mainly an orthopedic surgery hospital. He's very well known and respected, and his family has been concerned about him. Of course, uh, he's um, he's known for his tireless work and dedication to his patients. I think the whole Bursh family is very famous in northern part of Gaza and Jabalia and in Beit Lahia. Unfortunately, you're correct, Katie. There is attacks on journalists and there is attacks on healthcare workers, because I mean healthcare workers they help the needy people, and journalists deliver tell the truth. So and they give the true picture. So it's unfortunate. In the second trip, Nasser was under siege, and the stories that you hear from the people there, because we were lucky enough in the first trip that we worked with some of the surgeons at Nasser Hospital, and five of them were arrested and they were tortured. One of the paramedics was attacked in the operating room by a quadcopter, and one of the patients, OBGYN, induced her for labor, and they forced the patient who's in active labor to leave. So there is a very bad situation in the hospital when they target the healthcare workers and the paramedics. They took the ambulances. They stole basically the ambulance of Nasser Hospital. And there is another hospital here in Al Amal, which is you don't hear about them a lot in the news. And unfortunately, and these hospitals, very stuff from the Middle Ages happened. We heard stories from paramedics about women abused for days until they lost the ability to speak. There was a woman who unfortunately stripped from her clothes in front of her husband. Uh, Brothers, and then when they tried to help her, this resulted in killing both of them.
I mean, sexually abused, right?
Correct. Yeah, correct. So I think it is very sad to hear about physicians and surgeons and healthcare workers in general. Uh, in the north, we had a paramedic who was going on a trip to get someone from a bomb nearby, maybe like 1 kilometer. And as soon as he got into his ambulance and drove away from the hospital, the ambulance was attacked and he was killed on the spot. And two with him of his colleagues were seriously injured. So he's a paramedic. He's going to save some people, and he was attacked during his work. So it is very sad to hear this. And Adnan Al-Bursh is only one example of too many, the 400s that you mentioned.
Here's a photo of him. Here's another photo of him, tired, exhausted at work. So that's just one of the doctors who Israel murdered. And he also could have left. I mean, I think it's worth pointing out he was a doctor. We've seen these doctors who are so brave, including all of you who I'm talking with, but these doctors who could have left and choose not to, and they stay, and then they are killed. And they know that that's a possibility.
Yeah, Katie, Palestinian healthcare workers are my heroes. You gotta really go to the ground to see how. I mean, for 7 months, they've seen more trauma than anybody has seen in their entire lifetime. And you gotta understand that I mean, they've lost their entire civilization. So every hangout, cafe, restaurant, playground, mosque, church, every single university, school has been flattened by the Israeli forces. Even archives, their history is gone. Not 80 to 90% of their homes have gone. And flattened, and now the last bit of peace left, which is Rafah, is now being invaded and actively bombed in a massive way, as you know. So despite that, every single and all of us witnesses are, every single patient that came in had an associated trauma, right? So everybody had lost either a father, a mother, a child, a grandfather, their entire family. I mean, I saw one girl stuck, a beautiful 7, 8-year-old girl stuck under rubble for about 12 hours next to her dead grandmother and aunt, lost her siblings and her mother. And she had a major leg injury, which was operated on. When she came out, she found out she was alone. Her father was busy burying her, the rest of her family, and she came out realizing her siblings are gone, her mother is gone, and and she was crying and trying to console herself by reading verses of the Quran. But this is just one case. There's been thousands like this, and so the healthcare workers there are not numb. I mean, they actually feel everything, and so they feel this plus. And Amjad and David will tell you, I saw injuries that I do not ever want to see again. Horrific injuries, Katie, that are beyond description. We've all seen pictures of them on social media. They're worse than what you see with mostly children. So 70% clearly, I think Amjad David will agree, we're all children. 70% of our children, and elementary school children, not just but I mean all ages, but a lot of elementary school children, young children. And so it was horrific. And I think what I will say is that this has been a genocide on the healthcare system. So the Israeli forces know that a 2,000-pound bomb is not going to kill the tunnels. It doesn't penetrate, but it's going to destroy all infrastructure. So sewage pipes, water systems, all destroyed, and they're all mixing in. They bombed hospitals, as you know, and so hospitals are gone. When Palestinians have tried to, like they did with al-Shifa hospital and other hospitals, have tried to repopulate a damaged hospital because they have to heal the injured somewhere, the healthcare workers have been targeted and sniped, killed. And not only that, but they've been starved and starved and also made thirsty. So they've been starved to death, to famine, and also thirsty. So what happens is that they're malnourished. Okay, so their immune systems are more exposed to disease and death. Okay, antibiotics and painkillers and other supplies and important equipment has been prevented from coming in. Even now, with the Rafah border closed, nothing's getting in, right? And as a result, the number of amputations of 2 legs, one arm is huge. So even if there was a ceasefire now, thousands would die. The whole point has been to make the healthcare system, forget Gaza itself, but the whole healthcare system absent, right? So that there's nothing to go back to. The sick will have to leave the strip to get care. And the bizarre thing about this is that the Israeli politicians have said this. Like there's hundreds of statements online in the media on record of them saying what they're doing. So they haven't even hidden this fact and hidden their intentions, which is really bizarre. But anyway, so it's been horrible, and it breaks my heart because the three of us know the hospitals, know the healthcare workers there. Rafah is being bombed. I've been in touch with all of them. There's hundreds of mostly children dying every day now, every hour actually coming in, and they're actively bombing with airstrikes. And they've also invaded as well the eastern part of Rafah. And there's only one hospital left that's fully functioning, and that's a European hospital. So we're really afraid. It's giving me a lot of sleepless nights.